All right, we are here, our D's versus BS podcast, the YouTube channel. This is our first recording, and we are diving more into our first podcast episode, which was Beachbody. As promised, we're looking at Shakeology, which is their protein shake supplement. So, Marie, are you ready to get started today?
Yes, let's get into Shakeology.
All right, so we are looking at Shakeology chocolate whey, and for one scoop, if you just mix it with water, that is 160 calories per serving. So, Marie, what are your thoughts on that?
This is something that I would typically expect to find in a protein powder that is supposed to be, a moderate amount of carbohydrate, low fat, and a pretty standard amount of protein that you would find. The problem is that Beachbody consultants, I've seen them promote this as a meal replacement shake instead of being a protein powder. So having a 160 calorie protein powder that you would add to milk and fruit or whatever you put in your smoothie is totally different than just throwing that in water and calling that a meal. And we'll get later why they consider it a meal replacement, because there's a bunch of stuff. I mean, this whole supplement panel is so much to unpack. I've never seen so many ingredients, and they actually tout that as a selling point of, look how many things we've packed into this. It's a whole meal. You don't need to eat anything else. But at the end of the day, 160 calories just is not a meal.
Yeah, like you said, Marie, I mean, fat, 2.5 grams, low fat, 18 grams of carbohydrates. It's, moderate, like you said, but 6 grams of that is fiber. And if you listen to the podcast, we talked a lot about what makes this supplement actually filling. Things that make you feel full and stay full are fiber and protein, and Shakeology is both. So 6 grams of fiber in a serving, that's pretty decent, and 17 grams of protein. I've seen protein powders with more protein, but 17 grams is still pretty decent. But as for a meal replacement, like you were saying, it's just too low in calories. Like you may be feeling full for an hour or so, but you're just going to need some more to really be sustained.
Yeah. Like I said, just because they throw a bunch of, we'll get into all of these blends of superfoods and whatever other flashy word you want to put in there, it doesn't mean that you have those foods in a quantity that's going to actually make up a meal. It means that you've put essence of healthy things in there.
Let's get into some of these blends. And I guess before we even get into these, we can talk a little bit about what proprietary means. So do you want to get into that a little bit, Marie? Like what a proprietary blend is when you see that, because it's on so many different supplements.
So a proprietary blend basically means that the things that they have listed as ingredients are what is in it, but you don't know the amount, and they don't have to disclose the amount. So basically from batch to batch, you may or may not be getting the same amount of all the different ingredients that are in there. They boast, oh, we've got all these different berries and quinoa and blah, blah, blah. They have pictures of flaxseed and matcha and quinoa. This is not the equivalent of sitting down and having a bowl of quinoa with flaxseed and, oatmeal with berries, and you're getting all these rich antioxidants straight from the source. This is essence basically of all of these different things. And how much benefit can you really get from having a lick of quinoa?
Right.
To get the benefit of the food, you need to sit down and you need to eat food. So proprietary means that you don't know how much of each individual ingredient is within the blend, and it does not have to be consistent batch to batch. So already, with my athletes, and then even just with clients that I have in general, I usually tell them to steer away from any supplement that has a proprietary blend, just because I think it's safer to know exactly what you're putting in your body. But ultimately, I mean, that's the consumer's choice.
Right, definitely. So the first proprietary blend we're going to look at is their protein blend. This one's kind of funny to me because on the label, they say it's a whey protein. So yes, there's whey, but they also add in protein from pea, flax, and quinoa. And again, not sure why they would do that, just because, pea, flax, and quinoa, those are typical proteins found in a vegan protein powder, but there's really no benefit of getting protein specifically from those. For me, I think they're just adding that in to say, like you said earlier, there's the essence of quinoa in here and flax and all of that. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's definitely weird to me. So whey protein comes from dairy. It's an animal protein. And animal proteins are what we call complete proteins. So essentially all of the amino acids, which are just the building blocks of protein. So, if you were to be building a brick house, the house itself is the protein. Each individual brick is the amino acid. Some of them your body can make, and some of them you need to eat from food. And so if you're eating an animal protein, which a whey protein is, you get all of those amino acids. Versus a plant-based protein, some of them have amino acids missing that you need, so you need to eat a variety of sources, which is why in a vegan protein, you would see a bunch of different types of proteins being put into a blend to ensure that you have all those different amino acids, whereas a whey protein, you only need the whey and you should, you're good to go. So yeah, I agree. I think that they're just throwing that stuff in there to say, oh, look, not only are we giving you whey protein, we're giving you pea protein and flax and quinoa. And I think that flax and quinoa are very, superfoody type foods right now. And so that's, from a marketing standpoint, it makes sense. But I think that if you're truly just giving someone a whey protein, you don't need anything outside of the whey.
Right. Yeah. Because you're purchasing it for the whey.
Right.
In that case. Right. Yeah. So that's the protein blend. There are 4 more that we're going to go through. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the proprietary superfruit and antioxidant blend. So it is a mix of things you've heard and things you probably haven't heard, like, blueberries, pomegranates, rose hips. And then those are like the well-known things. Then we get into things like camu, acerola cherry, bilberry, things that, aren't as common. So, you look at these and think, wow, I'm getting the benefits of all these different like superfoods that are super rare, and I haven't heard of a bunch of them, so they've got to be good for me. And, the claim here is that these superfoods provide antioxidants and support a healthy immune system. But again, this is a proprietary blend. We don't know how much of any of these are actually in the supplement, and it's not the same as just eating it. So by drinking this Shakeology, it's not like you're getting the benefits of eating a camu, whatever that, and acerola cherries, blueberries, all this stuff. Yes, I'm sure these things are contributing to like the vitamin C level and, other things in there. But again, there's no real way to know, how much antioxidants are actually in the shake from all of these things. That's not something that's on a supplements facts panel. Like we said, just being wary of proprietary blends and not getting, wrapped up in all these fancy words and superfoods and this and that, because you don't really know how it's going to affect your body. And these sort of things haven't been really studied, how powdered all these different things, whether they even have a good effect in your body.
Yeah. And I think it's funny too that they have on their little subheader thing, it says these rare superfoods and vitamins provide antioxidants that help fight free radical damage and help support a healthy immune system. So that's their claim here. And I think it's funny because, yes, the berries themselves are rare. You could say, I don't know how often you come into contact with camu on a day-to-day basis, but there's really only 2 vitamins that are contributing to helping fight free radicals, which is what an antioxidant does. So basically, an antioxidant can bind to things that are found in your blood that can cause cell damage, which is why it's important to have antioxidants in your diet, which are coming from primarily fruits and vegetables. And those are vitamin C and vitamin E. And that's
they add that anyway. They add it at the end.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Those vitamins are not hard to find in standard berries, like a blueberry. You don't need, exactly. You don't need these crazy rare berries to get the antioxidants that you need to do the things that they're claiming that this proprietary blend will do. I would also argue that just adding a cup of berries and a handful of spinach into a smoothie of just a plain whey protein powder that doesn't try to add all this other stuff is going to give you the same, if not more, vitamin C and vitamin E. So again, they're just like, they're doing too much here. It's like
so much.
What's that movie?
Ingredients. Too much.
What's that movie when he's like laying on the board and he's like, do less, just do less. I think it's forgetting Sarah Marshall. Like that's, I
haven't seen that one enough.
That's how I feel right now. Like, just do less, Beachbody. Just give us a whey protein powder and stop trying to like have it be this superfood, amazing meal replacement. Just because you're getting essence of super rare berries doesn't mean that you're getting a full, well-rounded breakfast. So
totally agree. So proprietary blend number 3 is their super green / phytonutrient blend. So this one just has 4 ingredients. There's chlorella, spinach, kale, and matcha. So spinach, kale, matcha, those things that you could get anywhere.
Yeah.
But how easy and convenient it is that they've just powdered it down and put it in the shake. I liked what you just said, Marie, about just add a handful of spinach. You're probably getting the same amount of stuff, if not more, than this powdered, the powdered things. And one thing that I wanted to mention is, there's matcha in here, but we don't know how much. And it doesn't say anywhere that there is caffeine in this supplement, but kind of makes me think that there's not a lot of matcha in here. Because if there was a decent amount, then there would, be some added caffeine. Don't know if we have much more to say about that one. It's similar to the superfruit. Like, it's just some powdered leafy greens plus some, green tea. So that one's at least a little bit simple. But moving on to the proprietary adaptogen blend. So this has been really popular lately. I'd say over the past couple years, you've seen adaptogens popping up in everything, like lion's mane mushroom tea. And my sister just bought reishi tea. Like, she's drinking it right now downstairs. All of these different things, other things you might have heard of, like ashwagandha, maca, cordyceps. These are all different mushrooms that, traditionally in traditional medicine thousands of years ago, people would use them for different purposes. Like, there's stress relief ones and ones that help you focus, or nootropics. That's what lion's mane is supposed to do. But, diving into modern research, there really isn't enough about any adaptogen to show that it truly does have an effect for what they say they do. In my opinion, the research just isn't quite there yet. Again, we don't know how much of all these things. There could be like a milligram of each of these in there, and it still is considered part of the blend, but it could have no effect in the body.
Yeah, not only do we not know if what people claim these adaptogens do actually do those, we don't know what the efficacious dose is for each one of these because they haven't been studied enough. So we don't even really know if they are effective. And if they are effective, we don't know what amounts we need to be eating them in to have them be effective. That's, what efficacious dose means. So just because this is, again, in a blend, in an amount that we have no idea, with ingredients that we don't even know if they are actually helping in, all the things that they claim, then for me, this is just something that's jacking up the price, honestly. I mean, we talked about it in our podcast. We'll talk about it in a little bit here. This supplement, it's just wildly overpriced for what it actually is. And I think putting stuff like adaptogens from super rare mushrooms that probably are really expensive to source is part of the reason for that. And there's no reason to have something that like this in a protein powder.
I agree. And then the last one, I know we have a lot to say about this one. So there's a proprietary pre and probiotic / digestive enzyme blend. So this one is just targeting the gut. Everyone wants to have, healthy digestion, which we talk about in the podcast. What is healthy digestion anyway? But this is all about that. So just to talk a little bit about pre and probiotics. So probiotics are those little bacteria that are in your gut that help you with digestion. And the prebiotics is what feeds the probiotics. So that's why it's important to have both. In this, the probiotics, I'm only seeing one. It's Bacillus coagulans, which is one strain of probiotics. And there are, how many are there, Marie? Do we even know how many strains there are?
No.
Say like dozens, hundreds?
I was going to say millions. I don't know.
Right.
that could be wrong.
You don't even know.
There's millions of bacteria.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a ton of different bacteria that live in your gut. And we call it the microbiome. And everybody's makeup of their microbiome is different. So it's really hard to say what one specific strain would be beneficial for one person. Now, Bacillus is really common and it's sort of touted as the healthy gut bacteria because I think it is in most, if not all people, and it has been shown to be beneficial in humans. But just because you have that one, there's probably dozens, hundreds, thousands of other strains that are also being beneficial for you. And it's going to be different for someone else.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's where they check, the probiotic box here is that they've added one strain of probiotics to this. Check the probiotic box there. And then prebiotics, they add a couple of roots. So yuccan root and chicory root, which just kind of adds fiber, but that's what the probiotics feed on. So that's in here. I mean, if you're eating vegetables and fruits, like those are the things that have these prebiotics in it anyway. So this is, another thing they've just kind of thrown in there, added extras. You could also get this by just adding your fruits and vegetables and a scoop or two of yogurt to your shake. But I'm going to let Marie take over the digestive enzyme blend part of this proprietary blend. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is just so funny. This cracks me up. So, and it is, I've been seeing this more and more. So basically, within your digestive tract, you have a bunch of enzymes which help break your food down. What's so funny though, is that if you have a functional digestive tract, then you produce these for free. It'd be the equivalent of like supplementing saliva. If you're not producing saliva, like you've got a bigger problem, you've got a bigger medical issue, and you need to go to the doctor and get that taken care of. If you're not producing enzymes in your digestive tract, you need to go to the doctor. And there are medical conditions where that happens, but they're very serious. And a doctor will prescribe you very specific enzymes, and you have to take them at very specific times. And it's like a very serious situation. So funny that Beachbody's just throwing in these enzymes, which anyone outside of, having a serious medical condition is making those enzymes perfectly fine for free in their body.
Right.
Your pancreas doesn't charge you money to like make enzymes, right? The only one that's like kind of beneficial is the lactase. And that is only for people who are lactose intolerant. If you are lactose intolerant, then this can help break that down and you might not get like bloated or gassy or whatever if you normally experience that if you eat a dairy product. So that's potentially beneficial. And I actually have seen lactase being put in ingredients more and more for whey proteins for that reason, so that it it allows it to be a lactose-free product. But other than that, the rest of these enzymes are totally unnecessary.
Definitely. Okay, so I mean that's really all we have to say. We just said a lot. But those are our thoughts on Shakeology. So, like we like to do at the end of all of our podcasts, we give things the BS stamp or not. So, Marie, what are your thoughts on Shakeology? BS stamp or no?
Yeah, I mean, in our podcast, I know we didn't stamp it. And I guess I'm not going to again because it does have a pretty reasonable amount of protein for a protein, like a scoop of protein powder. Typically, you'll see 15 to 20 grams, and this has 17. It has a normal amount of calories that you would see in a protein powder. Again, don't use this as meal replacement. Use this as a protein powder that you're going to add to a meal or a snack. And as much as they're just showering you with every superfood that they probably just Googled superfood. Yeah, they chose the first 60 and they're like, we're just going to shove all of this into our protein powder. Is it necessary? No. Is it wildly overpriced? So, I guess we can kind of get into this right now. So, Shakeology costs $125, which is
and is that for
wild? Yes. It's 30 servings.
I thought I read that and I wasn't believing it, but
yeah.
30 servings, so literally 30 scoops of this stuff.
Yes.
For $129.
Yes.
Math. What even is that per scoop? More than $4 for a scoop.
I know.
Which is crazy because whey protein, you can just buy that for $20 from a grocery store.
Right.
Granted, it doesn't have the enzymes your body doesn't need, and it doesn't have, the unproven super greens and super fruit blends, but you're getting a very similar product as far as what's really proven to work in your body.
Yeah, so I'm not going to stamp it for BS because it is a protein powder, but oh man, is it just like the most egregiously expensive protein powder that I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I second everything you said. No BS stamp, but would I ever recommend it or buy it myself? Absolutely not, because there are always alternatives to this. So, Marie, what would you suggest as an alternative if someone wanted something like this, but didn't want to pay all that extra money for all the extra stuff that's not really making much of an effect?
Ultimately, especially if someone's buying the whey protein, I would recommend just getting a 100% whey protein. There are, hundreds, probably thousands of them on the market. Some brands that are reputable that I would recommend is Muscle Milk is one of the most cost-effective. Another brand that I recommend is called Garden of Life. It is a little bit more expensive. I think that is about $35 per tub. There's a company called, this is done through GNC, which I don't promote GNC, the store, because the people that work there.
About proprietary blends.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. And the people that work there tend to steer people in very much the wrong direction. But they actually do have a 100% whey protein supplement. It's called Optimum Nutrition 100% Whey. Obviously this Beachbody product has some vitamins and minerals in it. They're giving you like 60 ingredients that are going to give you minimal amounts of vitamins and minerals. Just make like a full smoothie, take a 100% whey protein and put some berries, some spinach, some yogurt in there. You're going to get the exact same thing for like so much cheaper. So that would be my recommendation from a whey protein. I know that they also have some vegan products that they might be able to sell someone of like, oh, no, we have vegan. So, just so people know that there are vegan protein powders out there that are way better. The Garden of Life, they offer a good amount of vegan products. There's a company called Momentous, which has some vegan protein powders. There's one called Vega Sport. So absolutely. All of these products, less than $50.
So that is a wrap on Shakeology. No BS stamp, but definitely better alternatives. And yeah, if you missed the podcast, definitely go back and give it a watch. We go, talk about Beachbody in general, how Shakeology fits into that. So definitely, I said give it a watch. Give it a listen. Don't give it a watch. Give it a listen.
But stick around because we have also uploaded a review of 6 other Beachbody supplements that is looking at their challenge pack supplements that they recommend. So, little teaser, we dole out a bunch of BS stamps in that one. So, yeah, so definitely go ahead and check that out. And like Emily said, if you haven't listened to the podcast, you can go back and check that out. You can check out our website, our Instagram. We'll link all of that below. So yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. We hope you learned something. And we hope maybe we've saved you from spending a lot of money.
So until next time, stay healthy out there.